What are you missing in Disney World's most immersive land? Let's find out. If you thought Star Wars Galaxy's Edge when I said immersive, then you were right. We are in Hollywood Studios' newest land today. Check out the rides, the food, the characters, the theming, all of it. We're gonna look at literally everything in this land. Now we're starting in kind of like the secret side. So everybody put your secret hat on, code names. Nobody can know we're here. That's because if you walk through this really cool hollowed out laser cave feature, you end up in the old outpost, which has been converted to be a Resistance encampment. So the Resistance encampment is of course where the Resistance hides out here on Batuu, which is the planet that Galaxy's Edge is sort of set in. Now Batuu is kind of like the jump trap of the galaxy, and it is currently controlled by the First Order, but not over here. Over here, Resistance vibes all the way. If you're a good guy, you should be on this side. Now, Galaxy's Edge is of course Star Wars land. It opened in 2019 and it's supposed to be totally immersive. So the whole vibe of it is that you're on planet Batuu, which is a new planet invented just for the land, but has been included in Star Wars canon. And you're visiting the outpost on Batuu, seeing the city, seeing the Resistance encampment, running into the First Order. It gets pretty dramatic here. Be able to live in the Star Wars story a little bit. It's pretty cool. As you can tell, it's also a busy land. It's popular, the food and dining locations are popular, the merchandise shops are popular, and the rides get really long lines. So if you're headed to Galaxy's Edge, you're gonna wanna listen up. I got some tips for you to make sure that you're not gonna miss out on any of the really fun stuff, even if it's really crowded. You'll notice a lot of screen accurate like ships and like prop replicas and theming here in Galaxy's Edge. It really does look like you're walking around a Star Wars planet. But this isn't my favorite ship. I like the other ship better for a very good reason that I will tell you. This X-Wing right here, parked over in the Resistance encampment, was actually used in The Mandalorian, but it wasn't made to be used on film. It was made for Galaxy's Edge. Basically, while The Mandalorian was being filmed, they constructed this X-Wing for use here in Galaxy's Edge in the Florida weather. It was constructed to withstand the time and withstand the rain and the humidity and whatever else Florida throws at it. It was made for that. It was not made for film. Typically, if an X-Wing like this is made for film, they're only going to build out the cockpit that's going to be seen. But they needed an X-Wing in The Mandalorian, and so Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni they were like, what if we just borrowed this? The actor who had to fly in the X-Wing did have to use a ladder to climb in, and they had to make a couple modifications, including building out the inside so that a person could actually fit in it, because before that, a person couldn't fit in it. So pretty cool. That X-Wing is now sitting here, and this was in maybe your favorite Star Wars show. There's the main event of Galaxy's Edge is over here as well. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is the first of 2 attractions that you'll walk past if you enter from this side of Galaxy's Edge, and it is probably the most popular ride in all of Disney World. On this attraction, you are recruited to join the Resistance, but your transport gets captured by a Star Destroyer, and you might even run into some familiar faces like Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. It is a thrill ride with some small drops. It's not going to be appropriate for everybody, and it has a 40-inch or taller height requirement. As you can see, the wait time here, a little after 11, is 135 minutes. That's pretty long. It's probably one of the longest wait times in Disney World at this given time. In general, it's gonna be. It also tends to spike right up first thing in the morning and stay long literally until the moment the park closes, and then people are still waiting after the park closes. So it is very popular. If you see this line, you're like, oh, it'll probably get shorter. It won't. And the ride might go down. If you want to make sure you are prepped to get on Rise of the Resistance in as little time as possible, go ahead and watch our video, How to Conquer Disney World's Most Stressful Ride. We try it whether you're a resort guest, you're not a resort guest, whatever your situation is, we tried out the best way to get on Rise of the Resistance, and we give you all the tips to be able to do so. This spot is an individual lightning lane selection, so a fancy ride. It is not available as a part of Genie Plus, and it's one of those that you have to purchase right at 7 a.m. If you are a resort guest. If you're not a resort guest, they are typically sold out by the time the park opens. For more Genie Plus tips, Molly has covered literally everything you would ever need to know about Genie Plus, and you can watch her video on Hollywood Studios Genie Plus to learn more. Now, if you do get stuck in line for Rise of the Resistance, I highly, highly, highly recommend downloading the Play Disney Parks app. There is a game that you can play on the phone in your Star Wars Galaxy's Edge data pad, where you can play along and kind of help Finn with a mission before you get on the ride. And it goes along with the story, so I think it adds a lot to it, and if you're stuck in line, why not? What else do you have to do? Speaking of the Galaxy's Edge data pad, it is an option in the Play Disney Parks app, and it's a really, really fun way to make Galaxy's Edge a lot more interactive. So this, for instance, is a communications tower, and the Play Disney Parks app, you can hack it. You can do all sorts of different things. You can hack things around Galaxy's Edge. You can translate. You can do missions for characters. You can do missions for some of the citizens of Galaxy's Edge, or Batuu, I should say. It's very, very cool, and it's actually way more fun than you'd expect. Even as like an adult, if you have time to do the datapad, I think it's worth doing a mission or two just to have a little fun. If you want to learn more about the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge datapad, you can check out Molly's video, Hollywood Studios Without Weights, or her other video where she pretty much did all the stuff you can do in the datapad and had a great day. Now, you shouldn't just look around when you're in Galaxy's Edge. You also got to look down because they have droid tracks and also weird Star Wars animal tracks in the ground. I love that. Having ground detail is one of my favorite things ever. Now, there's not a whole bunch in the Resistance side of Galaxy's Edge, but there are these little merchandise carts. This is Resistance Supply, where you can pick up some Resistance gear. Pilot helmets, be the spark light, the fire, cool keychains, cool jacket, all sorts of cool stuff. But really over here, the main event, the thing to see is Rise of the Resistance. Galaxy's Edge gets really cool when you start getting further into the outpost on Batuu. So as you turn the corner from the outskirts where the Resistance encampment is, you will come across the Batuu Market, which is where you start to really feel like, oh, I'm in an outer space city. I mean, it looks insanely cool. The first time I saw this, it blew my mind. Directional signs around here are going to pretty much be like directions around a city. So this points us to the market, the spaceport, and the old outpost. It can be a little tricky to navigate your first time, but Rise of the Resistance is obviously one of the rides, and Spaceport with the Millennium Falcon logo is the other one. I think we should head into the market though. So Batuu Market is another area of Galaxy's Edge. It features a bunch of little stalls for merchandise, as well as some food options and bathrooms, ever important. There are 2 restrooms in Galaxy's Edge, both of which are busy. You're not going to get a quiet restroom in this land, which, you know, you can watch my other Hollywood Studios tours to see where to find my favorite restrooms. But these ones are particularly fun because there is a hidden detail over by these water fountains. Now this sign here says, danger, not safe for human consumption. So, you know, I don't think people know how to read that. I guess it's okay. And there is a scary little friend here in this tank. Star Wars fans, you'll recognize that little guy as a Dianoga, or the trash compactor monster, I believe. If you're not a Star Wars fan, he's just a really cool little eye thing that comes out of the water fountain and maybe makes you want to get your water elsewhere. I promise it's actually safe to drink. Right when you walk in, you pass this little theming area. Now this isn't a true shop, which is upsetting because would I buy that sculpture of a Lothcat? Yes, I would. Instead, this is actually kind of like a carving studio, which is manned by this statue of a space pelican. I think we should check out some of the shops. That's the best part of the market. So the first stop we have here is the Creature Stall. This is a shop that sells exotic and rambunctious pets from around the galaxy. It's run by Bina, is the character who runs the store. And there is that outdoor section where you can see the crates stacked up with Bina's imports, but there's also a covered area of the stall as well in the actual market. You can adopt all sorts of space pets in here, like porgs, Lothcats. Molly and I have a pet Lothcat. You can watch our Galactic Star Cruiser video to learn more about that. But you should also come check out some of the animals that aren't up for adoption, or at least there are too many credits. I'd always tell you to look up in Disney stores. That is especially true in here. Some of the theming up by the ceiling is absolutely amazing. I have no idea what that is, but it looks scary. They even have a little sleeping Lothcat. The cutie. He's tired with his little porg plush. Lothcats eat people, so don't be fooled by their cuteness. There's also this guy. He looks very distinguished. There are actually a lot of details in the market that I still continue finding new details, even though I come here all the time, pretty much like at least a couple of times a month. So it's pretty wild that I'm still finding new details. This is a pretty obvious one. You've got these little like Barbie Jeep style speeders for kids, I suppose, or younglings, I should say. Our next stop is Toydarian Toymaker. This is my favorite shop in the market. It's got some really cool little options. This shop is run by Zabaka the Toydarian, who you can actually see working up in their window up there, building toy Wookiees and the like. And Zabaka's bed is right over here, this nest. And that is a Tauntaun rocking horse. The store is going to have in-universe toys. None of the merchandise in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is going to be outright branded with the Star Wars logo, because that wouldn't be in-universe, it would break the immersion. You can find that kind of stuff at Tatooine Traders over in the Echo Lake area. I do love the shop so much because I think it's really unique toys. The toys are typically like wooden, or they're instrument recreations from Star Wars, and games and things like that. There's even these adorable plushes. I mean, Come on. Even better. Come on. Look how cute that is. And they have lots of characters. Darth Maul, Boba Fett, Life Day, Chewbacca, Jabba the Hutt. They do have Sabacc, which is one of the most popular games in the Star Wars universe. It's similar to Blackjack in some ways. I love it. I have a set of Sabacc. Very, very fun. Yeah, you can see why I love this shop. The theming is so detailed. Look at the Kylo Ren. Is that Kylo Ren? I think it is. That's so funny. Right next door is Black Spire Outfitters, which is the local tailor's clothing shop, where if you want to wear some of the fashions of Batuu, you can certainly find those in here. Got lots of fashions that you might see a Jedi wear, or maybe just a citizen of Batuu. This shop is on the smaller side, but it's certainly going to be your stop if you want to dress more in universe or bring home a really, really unique souvenir, or look at some thread. And then finally we have Jewels of Bith. You can think of this shop more as your like hometown souvenir shop here in the market. This is another one that I really like because it does have more like classic souvenir style purchases, all in theme still with Black Spire Outpost and Batuu. Pins and patches, magnets. That's the back room. We can't go back there. Now that about does it for merchandise locations here in the market. However, there are still 2 eats places, and you got to stop by these spots. First, we have Katsako's Kettle, which is the popcorn spot here in Galaxy's Edge. This is where you can find buttered blue grains, which is a bluish-green version of regular popcorn, as well as a mouse-straight popcorn bucket and one of Molly's absolute favorite things in all of Disney World, the Outpost popcorn mix. The mix pretty much tastes like grape and chili. Molly says it tastes like Spicy Tricks. I like it, I don't love it. It's definitely hit or miss, very controversial for people, so it's definitely worth a try when you come, but that doesn't mean you're gonna love it. If you wanna know our full review of it, you can watch our Eating Everything in Galaxy's Edge video. Now if you're gonna find Molly in Galaxy's Edge, you'll probably find her at Katsako's Kettle throwing so much popcorn in her mouth. But if you are looking for me in Galaxy's Edge, I'm gonna be at our next stop. Right at the end of the market, you'll find this big round room with a giant jet engine in the middle. And this is Ronto Roasters, which is a quick service location here in Galaxy's Edge. You'll see a limited menu here of things like the Ronto wrap, which is of course the base kind of eat here. That's definitely what I'm getting. They have a plant-based option with the Zuki wrap and some fixins like pork rinds and fruit. They also serve breakfast as well with the breakfast Ronto wrap and some specialty beverages, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. The detail doesn't stop in here. You've got kind of this like room off of the main area, which is clearly like a weird kitchen of some kind. They've got dead things hanging from the ceiling. Very nice. And how does the Ronto get roasted? Well, they roast it on this engine that they have salvaged over here. Remember, Batuu is a little bit of the junkyard of the galaxy. And there's a Stroid who just sits up here and says, turn, turn. One thing to keep in mind about Ronto Roasters, it does typically close at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. If you didn't get a chance to get your Ronto wrap before that, don't panic. They do start serving the Ronto wrap over at Docking Bay 7 after Ronto Roasters closes, but they do not. One of my favorite things in Disney World. You're going to want to get here before 3 p.m. This spot does have mobile order, so I'm going to use that to skip the line. It's in the My Disney Experience app. Your roasters will pop right up. Select what you want off the menu, and then go ahead and order. I am going to get a Ronto wrap and a Tatooine Sunset because it's very good. So I of course went for the classic Ronto wrap because though I actually am in more of a Zuki wrap land nowadays, which is the plant-based version of this, the Ronto wrap is a classic and I wouldn't be showing you the best of Galaxy's Edge if I didn't get it. So this is a pita wrap, pita bread, with roasted pork, grilled pork sausage, peppercorn sauce, and tangy slaw inside it, and oh my gosh, they loaded me up this time. I'm so excited. It looks so good. I also got the Tatooine Sunset, which is the non-alcoholic specialty drink here. It's made with Gold Peak unsweetened tea, Minute Maid lemonade, and melon and blueberry. And I don't typically love Disney's like non-alcoholic specialty drinks, and even some of the alcoholic, they're usually too sweet. This one, however, is kind of just like a melony tea, and I really like it. This is a really good one. It is super meaty. They loaded me up with the sauce and the slaw, which is where I think most of the flavor comes from. It's got that amazing buttery pita on the outside, which really sets this apart from other stuff you eat in Disney World. And for me, the real winner is the sauce. It is like, their peppercorn is such like a jam-packed flavor in it. This is delicious. I've gotten it many, many times. I will continue to get it many times. It is so, 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 so good. All right, and my Tatooine Sunset. Delicious. It's a little on the sweet side, but it's not as sweet as like a McDonald's sweet tea, so it's still got like, it's more like a fruity sweetness than that. It kind of tastes like Powerade mixed with tea, but in a good way. I actually really enjoy this. I obviously got it by choice, so it's tasty. Next to the market, there's a big path, which there's not too much going on over there. It's mostly just a bypass for crowd flow. And then you've got this sort of, right now there's not too much going on here, but if you give a little listen, you can actually hear some resistance or first order transmissions coming through. You also might see some familiar faces around here sometimes, including people like Rey and Chewbacca. There is one character that you might see around. You might not know who she is. Her name is Vi Moradi, and she is a character that was introduced for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. She lives here on Batuu, and she is a resistance fighter. It's very cool to see Vi Moradi. You can see her around here. Vi Moradi or Vi Moradi? I don't know, but you can see her around here usually doing some work for the resistance. Sometimes she might ask you for a little help. I've seen her snooping on stormtroopers. It's awesome. Now this area is the entrance to a couple specialty shops and more of a crowd flow area. Although I will kind of pro tip, there are a few spare tables for Ronto Roasters down here. There's kind of this big like ledge thing that a lot of people eat on. So it's a little easier to find seating down here if Ronto Roaster is completely full, which it usually is. Now, if you're following along with news when Galaxy's Edge first opened, you probably know a little bit about what's special about the Coca-Cola soda stands. So they did develop special thermal detonator soda bottles that are in universe for Galaxy's Edge. And my favorite fact about these is that when Galaxy's Edge first opened, a couple weeks after, the TSA actually banned the thermal detonator Coke bottles on airplanes. They've undone that now, but I thought that was just wild news. Our next stop is just across from the junkyard, and it is this store right here language, so it's a little hard to read if you don't speak it. I know that the first time I was here, I didn't know what any of these little storefronts were. Feel free to ask the cast members, they're happy to help. You can also make sense because this store is where you can buy and build your own droids. So to build your own droid, you just come on in. You can either build an R2 unit or a BB unit, so like R2-D2 or BB-8 of course. And you get to pick out all the parts for your droid, and they'll help you activate them and let them come to life. You can see an R2 unit and a BB unit in the case being displayed. Wonder how they feel about that. Probably not great. And then of course you can see tons of droid parts up on the walls. And here are all the little stations where people are putting their droids together. They are remote control droids. They're $99.99 to build your own. And yeah, you can drive them around. They're super cute. I have restrained myself thus far from buying one, but I don't know how long that's gonna last. There are definitely some more great details in here. If you want to know more about hidden details of Galaxy's Edge, you can watch Molly's videos on them. She has really gone in detail in here, and there is just like, I can't even count how many details there are in Galaxy's Edge. And they also have add-ons for your build your own droid, as well as some premium droid options, like these mini C-3PO models. So cute. I might need a Dio. It's one of my favorite droids behind R2-D2. If you visited since the 2020 park closures, you might not have been able to come in here without waiting in a line. I was able to walk right in here without a line today, which is pretty awesome. It means I get to look at all the really cool droid merch that's in here. I love this bowl. I want this like for a candy bowl for Halloween. Uh-oh. Just came out of Droid Depot, and it looks like there's some first order stormtroopers patrolling. We're just gonna not act suspicious. Really fine. Oh gosh. He's staring right at me. Okay, he looked away. We're good. We're good. Right next to Droid Depot, you will find Savi's Workshop, which is where you can build your own handcrafted lightsaber, like the Jedi. Very, very cool experience. It is very secretive. So you do build your own lightsaber here. You get to pick from 4 hilt themes, whether it's peace and justice, power and control, elemental nature, or protection and defense. The experience is $219.99 per lightsaber. So basically, you do have to pay for your lightsaber to go in here. It's not like a traditional store where you can just walk around. And it is kind of a whole experience. It's similar to over at Universal, the like wand choosing ceremony. It's got similar vibes, but it is a paid experience, and it's only if you want to buy those build your own lightsabers. I have never been able to build my own lightsaber yet, but Molly has, and you can check out her video where she did. Our next stop is my absolute favorite store, Final Answer in all of Galaxy's Edge, which is Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities. This is very much the collector's store here in Galaxy's Edge. It's gonna have some of the more expensive, but very, very cool merchandise. There are models from the Star Wars films, costumes that are pretty much screen accurate, all sorts of stuff. And I feel like I see something different pretty much every time I'm in here. Dianoga in here as well. Looks like it's sleeping. Sounds like it's sleeping. And they've even got like this beautiful Padme headdress, and you can just buy Princess Leia's hair. I don't know if you can buy it. I think that might just be on the mannequin. There's some really cool Star Wars jewelry. If you're looking for a more unique souvenir, definitely check this store out. There's some really, really cool stuff in here. This is also where you can buy the Legacy lightsabers. So Legacy lightsabers are the lightsabers that are characters from the film's lightsabers. You can see there's this really long line in here to just look at them or buy them. So there is typically a long line to do this. These lightsabers are so cool. I do have one of these. I have Rey's. The way the lightsabers work is you pick out the hilt of the character you want, and then you can pick a length of blade. They have a few different options. You also can purchase these Jedi holocrons.
So basically what the Jedi holocron is that we have our kyber crystals over there, and each kyber crystal has a secret message from each Jedi master. For example, we have the green one, which is going to be either Qui-Gon or Yoda. So for example, since there's no kyber crystal in it, there's 2 buttons on each side. We have this set.
This is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen, with the dark shadow of the Empire rising to take their place.
But also we have the same thing with our Sith holocrons.
Gotcha.
It's the same thing. So there's a little tab right here, you unlock that. There's going to be a little lock right here that you're going to pull out whenever you buy the other kyber crystal.
Now, if you ever listen to me to look up, this is the store to do it in. There are so many Easter eggs and just cool stuff that you can see if you look up. There is a whole Tauntaun head. There are like Wampa stuff in here. You can see Doc Ondar himself working at his abacus. Something very cool is that you can see the helmet from the Mandalorian on the wall in here, Mando's helmet. That is so awesome because that was actually in this store before The Mandalorian started. So they built in Easter eggs in Galaxy's Edge that we wouldn't even know what they would be until that was revealed in the canon in the Star Wars shows. Cast members told Molly and I that there are even some Easter eggs from Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser that didn't make any sense before Star Cruiser launched, and now you'll know what they are if you see them. I haven't caught any yet, but hopefully I will. They have a baby Sarlacc in here. That seems dangerous. And that is Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities. No joke, it is literally a must-stop for me every time I'm in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Not for work, so I always drag my friends and my family into Doc Ondar's just to see what the latest is, and to, of course, point out Easter eggs and flex with my Star Wars knowledge that I sometimes have. Now this is the real mind-blowing part of Galaxy's Edge. This is where Batuu really looks like a planet. Like you're walking in outer space. This is the shipyard, and the Millennium Falcon itself is parked here. So cool for any Star Wars fan. I see people regularly just standing in front of the Millennium Falcon and freaking out. It's an amazing experience seeing this for the first time in person. Before we head down there though, we do have one more food location to check out up here, Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo. So this is the largest quick service spot here in Galaxy's Edge. It features a pretty lengthy menu with things like pork ribs, they have tuna poke, they have fried chicken, which is tip yip in the Star Wars universe, and of course more specialty alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks as well. This menu was recently overhauled, and we did eat everything here when we did our food challenge here in Galaxy's Edge. I definitely prefer Rancho Roasters if I'm going to eat in Galaxy's Edge, but Docking Bay 7 still has pretty good food. I just don't know if I would choose it. So the vibe of Docking Bay 7 is very much that it is a docking bay where smugglers and cargo men and aliens and bad guys and good guys park their ships up on the roof and then pop on in to have a bite to eat. I do love the theming in here. I think it's very well done. You can like sit in these actual giant like shipping containers. The seats all look very Star Wars. You order up at this counter up here. I do heavily encourage mobile order in this spot because it does get very busy since it is the biggest Star Wars restaurant. And you can't like come in and grab a table unless you are ordering here, of course. Just so everyone who is eating can have a table. They also have some outdoor seating as well, which is this very beautiful courtyard. It's typically kind of shady, and there's always some fun space jingles playing. And that's Docking Bay 7. Again, to learn more about that spot and all the food here at Galaxy's Edge, you can watch Molly and I's food challenge here in this land. Oh my gosh, gosh, I'm walking over the Millennium Falcon and I see a very familiar face. It's Chewbacca! It's got moving out. Got some work to do, I'm sure. Bet you Hondo Ohnaka wants to see him. Now, where there's Chewbacca, where there's Millennium Falcon, you'll also find Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which is the second attraction here in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So on this ride, you do get to actually fly the Millennium Falcon. It is an interactive motion simulator attraction with a 38-inch height requirement. You'll get one of three positions: the pilot, the engineer, and the gunner. The pilots, of course, pilot the Millennium Falcon, very important. The engineers keep it running, especially when it's damaged, when the pilots are very good at flying. And the gunners, well, they shoot the guns. This attraction has a 65-minute wait right now. It does tend to have a wait over an hour. It's another one that does tend to spike up first thing in the day and not really go down. This wait does have a Play Disney Parks app accompaniment with it, where you can kind of get vetted by Hondo to see if you're worthy of flying the Millennium Falcon. It's very fun. It's one of my favorite Play Disney Parks games. But this is a very, very long wait. If you can get this one as one of your Genie Plus selections, I highly recommend it. It is included with Genie Plus. Make sure you are paying attention for the free show of this ride. That's where you'll see the animatronic Hondo Ohnaka. He is so awesome. He looks like a real alien up there talking to you. It's very, very cool. And then you head into the Millennium Falcon. You see the chess table and like the booth, and it really feels like you're in there. I mean, it was amazing the first time I did it. And then sure enough, following right after that, you get to fly it. So it's a very fun ride. I super enjoy it. It definitely can be affected if you don't know everybody in your cabin. It is 6 people to a cabin, 2 pilots, 2 engineers, 2 gunners. If you don't know everyone, it can be maybe less fun. I love it kind of regardless. Molly, not the biggest fan, so it's a more of a hit or miss attraction. But I think it's definitely worth riding once. And if you can get Genie Plus for it, if you're using Genie Plus that day, aim for getting this one as a Lightning Lane attraction, because it will save you some serious time. This is also a great spot to take a picture, because what is a trip to Galaxy's Edge without a photo in front of the Millennium Falcon? I'm even going to take one right now. And as you can see, it really looks like we're just walking through the streets of Batuu now. Now, Batuu does have 2 suns. It's very bright here. Incidentally, that's pretty similar to Florida, I won't lie. Once you get out of sort of the area where the Millennium Falcon docks at the shipyard, you'll find this sort of like big old arch in the wall, and this is Oga's Cantina. Now, Oga's Cantina is the lounge offering here on Galaxy's Edge. It is open all day from park open to park closed typically, and it is very, very cool. It's also extremely popular. This one is very difficult to get a reservation, so make sure you're making your reservation as soon as you are able to try to get into Oga's Cantina. You can make your reservation 60 days ahead of your trip, so make sure that you're doing that so that you for sure get into Oga's Cantina if you want to. Now, I'll warn you, you don't want to get on Oga's bad side, but if she likes you, you can get served a variety of alcoholic drinks here, as well as a few food items, although I would probably skip the food items here. They're not my favorite. Got some very cool alcoholic drinks. My favorite is the Fuzzy Tauntaun, which has a mouth-numbing foam on top. So your mouth literally goes numb like you're at the dentist while you're drinking it. Take a look around the bar to see things like what might be going into your drinks. I know the first time I was in there, I was stood at the bar and you can literally see like weird space creatures excreting goo that go right into the taps that they're pouring your drinks out of. Most of the tables in Oga's Cantina are standing room only, and in most cases you'll have a 45-minute limit inside the restaurant to enjoy your drinks and the vibes, of course. The entertainment at Oga's Cantina is DJ Rex, a former Starspeeder 3000 pilot who you might recognize from the old days of Star Tours and the rest of the park, who has been repurposed as a DJ droid, and he gets the party started. Let me tell you, when you're in there, it kind of feels like you're raging. It's fun. This little stretch, weirdly, is one of my favorite sections because of this thing that's just clearly somebody's house with their weird space wind chimes outside of it. It's details like this that really make me feel like I am somewhere else when it actually feels like people live here, and I certainly feel like it does in this area. But we are headed up on the First Order's setup here. As you can see, oh my gosh, something must be landing. As you can see, they've got a big ol' First Order flag hung up, and a TIE Echelon is out here as well. Theming wise, this area definitely has a lot of very cool details. Most notably is the TIE Echelon, but sometimes you can see some pretty scary folks out here. Not only stormtroopers, but I've also seen Kylo Ren patrolling these parts. The Supreme Leader himself. The First Order must have some serious business here on Batuu. If you find yourself more First Order aligned, you can head over here to First Order Cargo, where you can pick up some gear to show your allegiance to the First Order, or just dress up as a tiny stormtrooper. That's a really cute shirt, actually, but we don't like the First Order here. Patches, baton and shields, long sleeve for kiddos, lots of kids tees. You can even get yourself a whole General's regalia. And if you look up again, you can see some stuff that the First Order might be using around here in Batuu. Maybe not for sale, but you might see it in the hands of a stormtrooper. This area also has this sort of big bay to it. This is where you'll arrive in Batuu if you are staying on Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. On days that travelers are visiting from Galactic Star Cruiser, you will see this area is kind of like got CMs manning it and is more or less blocked off. But today, Star Cruiser is not here at Batuu, so it's just kind of an extra seating area. My favorite part about this area of Galaxy's Edge, though, is just across the way. The milk stand! So the milk stand is a seriously iconic location here in Disney World. It is where you can get blue and green milk made famous from the Star Wars films. They are non-dairy. They're made with sort of like a coconut milk situation. The blue milk is more citrusy, the green milk is more tropical, and you can get them as coolers with alcohol as well. I think I should grab a blue milk. Blue milk acquired. Some people don't like the milk. I'm a big fan of blue milk. I don't love green milk. So this is definitely one of my favorite specialty drinks in Disney World. Because it's very close to a smoothie, it's a little too sweet, but you cannot get smoothies in Disney World, so this really quenches my smoothie craving. So I really, really love this. Some people don't so much love the milks at all. Molly likes the green milk better. Some people like them only with alcohol. Sort of depends on your taste, but I definitely think you should try it if you're spending some time at Galaxy's Edge. Fruity, just a little bit icy, refreshing. I always feel like this has a little bit of a mint taste on the back end. I don't know if that's true, but it's definitely got that cooling factor to it. I refreshed with my milk. I will say it's a little expensive. It's like $9, but it's a really good portion size, either for one person, or you can get both different flavors and two people share them. Or if you just want to try it, you can share it between two people. I share one a lot, so I don't know. I love the blue milk. All right, this little courtyard is home to the other restrooms. Also busy, however, not as busy as the ones over in the market. So if you need a bathroom, they are here. You've also got sort of this yard. This is the backside of Droid Depot where we are. So these are spare droid parts from Droid Depot. My favorite thing is this interrogator droids, I think. But you can actually use the Place Disney Parks app to trigger a reaction from that guy. Pretty neat. Also, there are benches, which is also pretty neat when you've been walking around Disney World all day. And we are close to done, but I've got 2 more details that I have to show you because they're some of my favorites. My favorite photo spot in Galaxy's Edge is right here by all these droids on the side of Droid Depot. You can come and take a picture right in front of them. I love seeing these guys. They're so cute. Also, that one kind of looks like the 2319 guys from Monsters Inc. Oh, look, they woke up. So neat. They're talking to each other. And this kind of wraps around over to where we were earlier by Radco Roasters in the junkyard. And then if you go this way, you're kind of heading your way out of Galaxy's Edge. But you do have this giant crater, which looks like a ship crash there. And there is typically, yep, they're here today, a PhotoPass photographer over here as well. I absolutely love the PhotoPass photographers of Galaxy's Edge. You can find them over by Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. There is a super zoom shot available over there sometimes. And you've got one over here. So if you have a Memory Maker, if you want to take some photos, go ahead and find these PhotoPass photographers. They do an awesome job of getting you to have really fun and thematic pictures in Star Wars. And now, don't judge me for my favorite thing that I'm about to show you, because I'm going to do it. This is my favorite space tree. It's so green. It looks fake, but it's real. Gosh, I love it. Also, I think these little yellow flowers fall out of it. I don't know. It's just a 10 out of 10 good tree. That's literally everything in Galaxy's Edge. I hope that was helpful. You got questions, ask them in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And now, go watch my tour of Sunset Boulevard. See you there.